Continue. Hey guys, Hackersploit here, back again with another video, and in this video we're going to be looking at web server hacking. So we're going to be continuing where we left off, and this time we're going to be trying to exploit the port 139, which is the Samba. It's running the Samba server right here. So again, we're going to be scanning our metasploitable machine, so go ahead and do that if you have not already. And once the scan is complete, we have some open ports. Now, of course, in the previous videos I've made, many of you have said that this is, this is basic stuff. Well, the reason I'm using this, I'm showing you the different ways of using Metasploit in different ways whenever you have, for example, a very unique exploit that you want to use. And one of the most unique ones is the Samba server, all right? Now, Rapid7 exploit has this vulnerability with the Samba. It allows command execution without authentication, which is awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be using Metasploit, and I'm going to show you something really unique about this. Now, this exploit or this server, the Samba server, does not run. It does not have a backdoor installed already. That means it's pure vanilla, and that means that to exploit anything here, we would need to use a payload, because it does have a buffer overflow, and the only way we can make use of a buffer overflow is by using a payload. So let me just show you what I mean. So I've got the exploit, so I'm going to paste the exploit here, right? So I'm going to say use exploit multi-samba user map script, and there we are. So let's look at the options available. All right, and right now it's telling me that the options available are the rhost, which is the target IP address, and the port. The port is fine because it's configured correctly as port 139. Awesome. All right, so let's set the rhost to the IP. All right, so the IP is, for me, is going to be again, you can check this by going to your metasploitable machine and just running the ifconfig option. So once you have set that, now if we try and exploit this, nothing will happen, because as I've said, we need to run basically we need to exploit the buffer overflow, and we can do that by using a payload. So to view the payloads available in Metasploit, what you do is you say show, all right, payloads, show payloads, and it'll show you the payloads available for this exploit. All right, so just give it a few seconds, and there we are. So we have, so we know that it's using the Unix command, and we have the name and the description. So as you can see, there are very many options that you can use. As I said, this is a good reason to learn Netcat, because it gives you the option to use Netcat as a payload. There'll be a lot here which we'll be all looking through. As you can see, they've been programmed in different languages, so you can run the payloads in different languages, and so on and so forth. Now, the one I'm going to be using is I'm going to be looking for the reverse shell, because I want to create a reverse shell where what's happening is, instead of me connecting to the target computer, in this case our metasploitable machine, and in case it has a firewall, which in most cases a web server would likely have, it's going to refuse a connection, right? So now the reason we use reverse TCP is it's awesome, because it allows the web server to communicate back to us on a port that we specify. Now that's going to be something that the firewall can't stop, so it's awesome. It's very cool to use something like reverse shell, or something of that equivalent. All right, so we can use here the we can use any of these reverse shell payloads. Obviously the most popular one is going to be the Netcat one, because again, it's going to use Netcat as a means of communication. So I'm just going to copy the exploit, and then in here you want to set the you want to copy the payload, and in here I want to just set the payload. So set payload, and I'm just going to paste the name in of the payload. Let me just do that. Let me just do this right now. All right, so that's the payload we want to use. Now something interesting will happen. If we check for the options now, we have different options. Now we have the listening address, which is going to be my IP address or the machine that you're using, and then you have the listening port, which again you can specify to make it more promiscuous. For example, you could say that the listening port could be 80. You know, you can use 80 as a port because that web server, when communicating to you, will realize, okay, this is normal browsing because it's going through port 80. That's where all the traffic usually goes through, and it will connect without an issue. As I said, with some firewalls, if you use any other ports, it might detect that, you know, hey, this is a weird port that it's using, and this could be dangerous. So block that connection, that outgoing connection. But in this case, we know that Metasploitable is not going to stop that. So you can use any port that you want. But please do remember that if you're going to use a port like 80 or ports that are configured, make sure you have no service running on it or it will conflict. Alright, so that's also very, very important to understand. So let's configure the L host, which is your IP address. So set L host, and I need to get my IP address. I should have actually thought that through. So let me just create a new tab here, and I'm just going to check for mine here, like so, and there it is, 192.168.2. Let me just copy that here, and we can paste that in here, paste it like so. Oops, let me just in fact, let me just do that again. So set lhost and paste that back, and there we go. We have set our lhost. As I've said, you don't need to change your L port, but again, it depends on the server that you're trying to attack and run this exploit on. In most cases, it will detect it, but if it's coming from a port that is not very common, for example, the port 444. So if we look at the options now, we can see that we've set our R host and the R port, which are correct. The port that we're trying to attack is 139, which is running the Samba server. We then have the L host, which is our IP here, our local IP. And we then have our L port, which is the port is going to listen to. So that's the port the server is going to connect to with outgoing traffic. So this all looks good. Let's see if we can actually run it. So I'm going to hit exploit, right? And there we are. Reverse shell opened, and we can go ahead and run some commands. So we are in. So let me just clear the console. All right. So what I can do now is say something like uname a. Whoops. Uname a. There we are. Metasploitable. We can list our files. Let's go to the root. Let's see what's in root. There we are. Desktop. We have files on the desktop. Let's look at wait, what do we have in here? We have nothing in the desktop. Let's go back, and let me just clear this again, and let's see what files exist. Whoops, I cannot see what I'm typing in, like so. And I believe there's some VNC files. So cat VNC. Whoops, let me just view the files that were existing inside here. So we have vnc.log. So cat vnc.log. All right, awesome. We can see that we have the log files here for all the VNC servers. Awesome. So as you can see, we have initiated our reverse shell, and that was a good way of explaining how to use payloads, because in most cases the exploits that you'll be running don't have backdoors in the services that you're trying to attack. And one of the good examples was using Samba. Samba has no backdoor, but it allows command execution without authentication. So it's awesome. So remember that you can use any type of payload that you wanted that comes with the exploit, and from that you can change your approach of attacking the web server. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you guys found value in this video. If you did, please leave a like down below. And if you have any questions or suggestions, let me know in the comment section, or you can hit me up on my social networks. If you have any personalized questions, you can hit me up on Kick. And by the way, guys, something very, very important is I've added a forum section to my website. So you can go and sign up, and you can post the video suggestions for the new videos you want to see on the channel, and I'll be picking random ones. And I'm going to have a Q&A series where every week I'm going to be trying to answer all your questions. So you can also post your questions there. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and have a fantastic day. Peace.